Good afternoon. I wasn't there the day that we were doing presentations, so I put this video together to show you my presentation. It's on climate change and the effects on natural selection and evolution. So let's get started. Alright. So this is what we're going to be going over. Picture of a polar bear on ice. Ice caps are melting, causing polar bears to go extinct. Let's talk about it. Alright. First section we're going to talk about is natural selection. Alright. So, natural selection. I'm not going to go too deep into natural selection because this is a biology class. It is expected that most of the students should know what natural selection is. So, natural selection, survival of the fittest, most fit to obtain resources, to reproduce, and most fit to survive in their environment. It's the key to evolution and determines what species survive. Alright? And the environment determines what's most fit to survive. So, if it's cold, something that's well adapted to the cold is more likely to survive. That's something that's well adapted to the heat. So the different types of environment are going to determine what natural selection chooses to survive. Alright. Now let's talk about evolution. Alright, so evolution. Evolution happens through mutations in the DNA causing one species over thousands of years to eventually become another species. So, like in this example, the Charmander, slowly changed over many, many, many generations into something similar but different, and over many, many, many generations change into something even more different and more well adapted for the environment through natural selection. So, mutations in the DNA, that DNA must be inherited by the next generation, so on and so forth, and that those mutations have to continue to be beneficial, and eventually, over thousands and thousands of years, that original animal, plant, whatever, is going to change into something new that is more fit for its environment. Alright. Now, climate change. Alright. So, climate change. It actually happens naturally. Now, the climate change we hear about on the news is not necessarily natural, but a couple examples of natural climate change is the Hadean era. The Hadean era is the very beginning of Earth, when Earth was a molten ball of lava. It's hot. It's very, very hot. The entire Earth is molten. And just over thousands of years, eventually the Earth cooled and became a solid rock and had water on it and all of these things, and eventually was suitable for life. So, cooled naturally until a point of which it was suitable for life. Alright, the Cretaceous period. It was hit by an asteroid. An asteroid hit the Earth and completely changed the environment. Volcanoes, earthquakes, all of these things happened, causing new gases to go into the air and kill animals. The impact killed millions and millions of animals, and the earthquakes killed things, and the environment changed completely. The earthquakes caused new mountain ranges to spring up. The volcanoes caused new mountains. We kind of went from Pangea to the continents we have today, and a lot of it had to do with an asteroid impact. The climate changed drastically due to an asteroid impacting. And then ice ages. Ice ages kind of do a rotation. As there's more oxygen in the atmosphere, because plants were dominant for a while, the Earth begins to cool, and because of that, and as there's more oxygen in the air, animals become more dominant, but as the Earth begins to cool, naturally, it becomes an ice age. And then animals are dominant during that time, and eventually that causes the Earth to warm back up because CO2 is more released into the atmosphere rather than oxygen, and the world begins to heat up again. Those greenhouse gases are released into the atmosphere, causing the Earth to heat up. So it's kind of a natural rotation, the Earth is warm for a while, the Earth is cold for a while, the Earth is warm for a while, the Earth is cold for a while. Alright, so these climate changes, what they are is changes in temperature, changes in the sea level, changes in the landscape, and changes in the gas levels in the atmosphere. So how much ozone, how much O2, how much carbon dioxide, methane, those type of gases, how much of those are all in the atmosphere. And those are what changes the environment, or changes the climate. So normally, climate change is very slow, which it's kind of interesting because if you look at evolution, evolution is very slow, happening over thousands of years. Climate change is very slow, happening over thousands of years. Or it's instantaneous. So, with only a few examples of that being volcanoes, earthquakes, asteroid impacts, things that drastically change immediately though. There's not a slow change over time, it's instantaneous change in the environment. And basically the entire Earth starts over. So, yeah. Today, it's a very, very quick change. It's not instantaneous, but it's rather quick, which is something I don't think the Earth has ever experienced before, where we have very quick increases in temperature and quick increases in the sea level. The acidity of acid rain is increasing. All of these things are causing huge environmental effects very, very quickly today. And it's all because of pollution and humans over-harvesting trees and killing things off and all of that nature. And it's just causing very, very rapid climate change. All right. So let's talk about the effects of climate change on evolution and natural selection. Alright, so, natural selection and evolution. Temperature, resources, and geography. If the temperature is changing, and you're not well adapted to that temperature, you're probably not going to survive. For instance, penguins. If the heat is increasing on the Earth constantly, or say even we just took a penguin and we put the penguin in the middle of the desert. That penguin's not going to survive because it's not adapted to the heat. It's not adapted to that warm environment, and it's going to die probably of something attuned to heat stroke. But talking about other birds, you have birds around here, blue jays, cardinals, woodpeckers, hummingbirds. They're all adapted to this environment. A penguin wouldn't be able to survive here. I mean, it's 85 degrees out today. But those birds are able to survive perfectly fine. Whereas if a penguin was here, it wouldn't be able to survive at all. It would look kind of funny because it's not designed to be here. Those birds can all fly. The penguin waddles around and isn't able to do anything, and if it ever tries to go and slide on its stomach like it does in Antarctica, as it's adapted to do, it's going to slide across the